think we're live. And on Facebook, yeah. Instagram, Doble live. Hi, mi amor.
Hola.
Hello, everyone. Let's just see who's joining us. This is our first live stream together, and I'm very excited. Are you?
Sí.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So, as you join, let us know that you're here. Feel free to drop a hello. You can drop a hashtag live, hashtag or hashtag replay. And what's this? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. Can you please let us know if you can hear us okay? We just want to make sure that you can hear us clearly. Okay, beautiful people. So, I wonder if I can see comments on this one. Maybe you want to open your Facebook. Yeah. Please.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Matt. Yeah, let's leave it here so we can see. Can you press closer, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay, everyone. Hello. So, I'm very honored to be here today with this beautiful man, the owner of my heart.
Got the keys.
I got the keys, yeah. I'm so excited to be here with him, with definitely one of my favorite topics in relationships, which is conscious communication. This has been a huge game changer in, like, personally. I'm gonna talk in my personal experience for now. Yeah, because just learning to practice conscious communication inside a relationship has just saved our lives. My life, my relationship. Yeah, and I decided to invite my man here just to have a super casual conversation around this, and feel free to drop any questions below in the comments. Feel free to let us know what resonates for you. And yeah, so babe, would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to do this live stream as well. As Aliza said, we've been together for, you didn't say anything about that.
No.
Conscious communication, the way in which we've communicated with each other and made certain decisions in the way that we create norms in our communication, has been one of the most effective tools in our relationship to get through triggers, to get through disagreements, and to just consciously appreciate each other and support each other. And so she's obsessed with this topic, I'm obsessed with this topic, and I come from a place of not feeling like I'm a master at this, but that I practice communication skills, strategies, tools all the time, every single day. I'm constantly learning about this stuff. And so the intention of coming on here on the live stream, for me at least, was not to be on a pedestal, but to just share what are some things that have helped us in our relationship. What are some things that have allowed us to move past triggers? What are some things that have allowed us to show up authentically for each other? What are the things that have allowed us to establish boundaries? What are the things that have allowed us to communicate when we didn't feel like we wanted to communicate or we wanted to close down? So I'm excited to share some of those things, some of those stories, and also just some of the tools and frameworks that I think can be applied not only in a romantic relationship or a partnership, but I think in friendships, in business partnerships. The way in which you communicate with other people profoundly impacts your connection to them and profoundly impacts the results that you get in your relationships. So I think that that's a really exciting topic for me. I want to talk more about this. So when Eliza had invited me to do this with her, I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to share that actually the first compliment I ever got from Jordan was about the way I expressed myself, like even before we met in person. And that made me realize, like, of course, before that I knew being fully expressed and being able to express myself in an authentic way was important, but the more when I met Jordan, he really reflected back to me how much he appreciated it and how good it was to meet a woman who could express herself authentically. And I was like, oh, like, thank you for letting me know, right? Like, and then the deeper we got into a relationship, the more we got to know each other, the more I keep reaffirming that importance of good communication and authentic communication. I keep reaffirming. So, yeah. Also, I would like to say here that getting to know people and, like dating, meeting new people can be really fucking hard, right? Like, if you've been in my work for a while, like, you know how I see dating and relationships as a healing container, as a way, as a tool, as a modality to heal, to explore ourselves, to get to know about ourselves, more about ourselves, to rediscover ourselves. So, I lost my train of thought for a moment.
I want to just maybe I make a comment about one of the things that really stood out to me, and this is maybe this is both for women and men, whoever notices things in other people as far as how they communicate. At the time when I had met Eliza, we met online, and we quickly went to voice notes. We realized we had enough in common to start communicating through WhatsApp, and I found like right away that communicating via voice notes is like a very effective way for me to hear someone in the way that they articulate themselves. You get the tonality of their voice, you get just a lot more out of that. So I felt, okay, I'm going to take this to voice notes. And when she initially sent some voice notes back, I could tell that how she used her voice and how she expressed herself was like very different than a lot of women I had met at that time. And so there's a few lessons there I think that are more applicable to everybody. One is, if you notice these differences in people, like I had noticed in her, and she was talking about her appreciation for my appreciation, one thing that's kept our relationship really healthy, in my opinion, is just constant appreciation and admiration for the other person and their communication style. And when someone acts a certain way in their communication, it's calling that out in the moment of like, I really appreciate the way that you communicate. One of the early ones was she didn't really like to have back and forth, like before meeting someone. And I wasn't going to be in the same place as her for another week and a half. So she said, hey, like, I don't really like to go back and forth on text until I've met someone. So I took it upon myself to say, hey, no pressure, let's just save our energy until we meet. We've already made the decision that we want to meet. Why take that extra week and a half to kind of leak our energy to each other? And I was really appreciative that she brought that up, because I was able to listen and I was able to take that feedback and then lead the container and kind of say, hey, totally fine. What we'll do is, instead of leaking energy now, once we meet, that'll be a good place for us to actually feel like if there's a vibe. And then there was another example that I could think of where this was one of the first days in which, you're kind of very early on in the first few weeks of dating, and you've met and you're really excited, and maybe you're texting more than you usually do, and you kind of get that I don't know if it's like a FOMO or if it's like some kind of weird feeling of like
I think it's just excitement.
yeah, well,
Like,
it's an excitement, but then you're like, okay, well, I also still want to have a boundary around this because
Yeah.
I'm texting way more than I want to be, and I think us having some clarity on both of us understanding and accepting that going throughout the day, it's really important for us to try to be less on our phones and more into our work or more into practices or whatever it is that we're doing. So I remember early on, she had expressed that, and she had also said, hey, I'm going to go be doing all these things, but I'll talk to you later in the evening. And I was like, wow, I think a lot of people would just not text anything all day and make the assumption that the other person will understand that they're off doing their thing. But it's like the really secure way to communicate in relationships early on and then as you go along is to constantly provide that reassurance and that word of affirmation that, hey, I'm still thinking of you. Here's the things that I'm doing. Here's when I'm going to get back to you later in the day. Right? Like those things are such gold, especially for folks who have a strong desire for words of affirmation in their love language. It's like both of us are pretty strong with words of affirmation, so creating rituals around telling each other what we're doing during the day, having expectations of when it is that we're going to see each other, having expectations of when we're going to be done with our practices and have a little bit of time to text, saying certain things at night or in the morning. Like all these things have been really, really crucial to make as normalized rituals in the relationship, and actually talking about them and saying, hey, actually it's really important to me that we say I love you every night before we go to bed. Actually, it's really important for me if you're going to be gone all day that you let me know what you're doing just so that I have a good sense of that. And it's okay to have those things as needs and to express those things. How you express them, and what I think was also worked for us is expressing things in a positive frame as what helps me and what makes me feel really good rather than why don't you do this. So instead of being on the defensive end,
you can go ahead and share.
yeah, instead of being more on the defensive end of things where maybe you're recognizing something that someone is not doing and calling out the negative action, instead referring to the positive action that you want. Because wherever you focus is what you're going to get. So if your focus is on what they're not doing, then they're likely going to not do that more.
Yeah, it's like when we focus on, well, I work with women in like most of the, I've been working with women up until now, and something that I realized is that there is this like difference in, a lot of the times there are differences in the needs that women get compared to men a lot of the times, and that's why it's so important having like clear communication and ways to communicate things. And something that I want to say for especially like for the women who are out there like scared to express themselves, and I'm sure this also sometimes applies for men, scared to express your boundaries. If it's been hard for you, maybe because you're just not used to express your boundaries, it's like I want to offer you the shift of like approaching it from a mindset of the more boundaries I express, the clearer I express myself, the more safety we're able to experience inside the container. Like expressing myself is actually, it's so beneficial. It doesn't mean that I'm asking for too much or that I'm being too much, or that's the sort of things that women tend to think, that maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm being too needy. Maybe like, no, babe, let go of that. Like you can ask for what you want, and actually in my experience, conscious masculine is going to appreciate that you express what you want. It's going to be, why? Because easy. You're making it easy for him to give you what you want. Like it's in the masculine nature to want to give you, right? So it's like you're making it easier when you express how you can be honored. If that makes sense.
I think Elisa also does a good job of discerning what it is she's going to bring up, as well as myself. It's like you want to be fully expressed, but you also want to check your own triggers, check your own traumas, and deal with that stuff prior, as much as you can, prior to bringing it into the relationship and bringing it into the conversation, especially if it's really charged in the moment. Some examples of that. I don't know if we want to talk about one from last week.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, maybe the preface to this would be, we realized really early on, and this is a very specific example, that triggers are actually neutral. Triggers are not bad. They're not necessarily good. They can be either. We can consider them either, but they just happen. And I think taking away the stigma that triggers mean danger in the relationship has really helped us from day one, because I think both of us can agree, in past relationships when we've been triggered, both of us have felt like, if I'm triggered with this person, then maybe they're not the right person. Or if I'm triggered with this person, then maybe the relationship's in trouble. And all of a sudden it becomes a spiral of different negative thoughts, as opposed to, oh, there's a trigger. This is interesting. Why is this coming up for me?
Yeah.
And one of the things that she did really early on that actually became a model for me was, she had gotten triggered in a conversation that we were having over text message, voice notes. And she replied to me back and she said, "Hey babe, this has nothing to do with you, but I'm feeling really triggered right now. I'm gonna go take some space and sort this out, and I'm gonna get some clarity on this and let you know what I'm feeling. I love you, good night," right? So like, she met all of my needs by being very communicative, met all of her needs by giving herself some space, and we created safety. She created safety in that situation for me not to feel like I did anything wrong by explicitly stating, this has nothing to do with you. This is my trigger, this is my trauma, it's something that's coming up for me. And so I found that whenever we navigate a new trigger, that's one thing that usually just stating it, like, babe, I'm feeling really triggered right now. It's out on the table. The other person gets an immediate sense of, okay, like, they're not, they're emotionally charged. This is a situation that they need to deal with. I can provide the space, or I can give them a hug, or like, that's where we're learning a lot about each other and how to interact with our triggers. But by just calling it out, you're doing more than what 99% of people, because usually what will happen is people get triggered, they blame the other person.
Yeah.
And it's like, you did this to me, or you did this. But if you effectively take that blame away from that person, you continue to show them love and appreciation, support, and you honor yourself, and you take responsibility and ownership. Because if you own the trigger, then you have the power to like change what the trigger means. And so when I was referring to last week, maybe you want to talk about.
I just wanted to say something else around that. Thank you. Who resonates with this, like, with this piece of if the person triggers me, maybe it's not the right person for me, or
pop trigger in the chat.
Yeah.
trigger in the chat. If you've ever thought that a trigger meant the person's not the right person for you. Any trigger.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people think that, oh, if I'm waiting for the person who doesn't trigger me. The right person for me won't trigger me. Like, no, babe, you'll be waiting forever. Like, please, it's so normal. I want to really normalize and validate and put it out there. Triggers are gonna come up, and it's totally okay. Like, you get to learn from triggers. When well navigated, like, so much beauty comes out of that. Like, I feel every time we navigate a trigger, which have been a lot of them, like, every time, it can be tough in the moment. Sometimes we feel like we want to close, and it's the most human thing to feel like we want to close when we're triggered. But when navigated correctly, after we navigate a trigger, like, I totally feel much more connected to him. Like, I feel like, oh my god, like, this made us stronger, more connected. So I wanted to say that.
And you heal individually.
Exactly.
Like that's why we're saying like this is actually a healing modality. Being in a relationship where there is a safe mirror, as in the person can help hold a safe space for you to feel triggered and not feel like the relationship's in danger, becomes a healing modality for you, because then you can explore that trigger without them leaving or without the threat of them leaving. You can have conversations that are really difficult, where you can talk about maybe how scared you are or how fearful you are of the relationship or of the trigger, and you can act as yourself. Because one of the biggest silent killers of relationships that I've been in and ones that I've seen that have failed have been just an inability to communicate, and like that avoidance or like that silent inauthenticity, where you just feel like you can't express yourself to your partner in the way that's actually real. You have to walk on eggshells. You have to constantly censor your language because you're just scared of what they're going to do. So
absolutely. And the other piece that I want to say about triggers is the responsibility, like taking ownership and responsibility for your feelings. Like, remember that the other person is not responsible for what you're feeling. Like, a lot of the times they don't even know what you're feeling, you know? So when we're feeling triggered, if you want to blame, if you go in default mode and blame the other person for how you're feeling, you're going to feel so powerless. If you're giving the other person the responsibility of your emotions, is giving your power away. So being consciously navigating triggers is about taking full ownership of what you're experiencing, of your own experience. And it's like, okay, right now I'm feeling really fucking triggered. It's not about like also sugarcoating it or making it pretty. Like, no, like you can say, I'm really feeling so triggered. And before blaming the other person, before making the other person responsible for what's going on, explore within yourself. Check in within yourself like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this fucking like pain or whatever it is. Like really, and it's like, okay, where is this coming from? It's like, what about what they said? What about what my own past experience or unprocessed past experiences? A lot of the times we're triggered because of like we haven't finished processing something from the past. And then if we're not aware of that, we're immediately blaming the person in the moment, in our current reality, right? So just giving yourself, hi Samantha, nice to see you here, babe. Giving yourself that, first of all, taking full responsibility, and from there you have the power.
Yeah. And it's okay to not know, too.
Absolutely.
Like, to not know why is the gift of being human and the gift of repressed trauma. So there may be a multitude of reasons why you're triggered. There may be deep, dark, unprocessed shit that you're dealing with that doesn't allow you to even access a reason. That's okay. Mm-hmm. I think the key of the communication is, hey, Eliza, it's not your fault. I'm feeling this. Because I'm feeling this. And again, the moment I take that responsibility for that, then I have the empowered version of myself to go look deeper into that. And it might take me months, it might take me years, it might take me days, whatever. And I'm going to have my own practices, whether that be psychedelics or meditation or exercise or
hitting the pillow, screaming into the
pillow.
Love it. Highly, if you haven't done it, highly recommend it.
And it actually the first time you did that near me, I was a little bit scared. But then I was like, oh, like this is beautiful. I'm getting to watch her release this trauma or process this emotion or put herself in a better place to be able to serve our relationship. And so when you watch someone grow real time like that, it's like the only thing that I ever want to do is just hold a space for that. I don't want to come in there and judge that. I want to just be able to be open to whatever I might learn, because maybe slamming the pillow around like that is something I might end up enjoying or using. You can end up learning from your partner from whatever modalities they use. But again, like all this that we're talking about takes a pretty evolved stance from both people. So it's more about like, for myself, it was all about like, how do I work on me, where I can get to a point where all this stuff is on the table for just me, and then I'm gonna attract somebody that ends up also being able to do those kind of things. And that's what I think we found, which is awesome.
Babe, get yourself a man who is not scared of you when you're like slamming the pillows and screaming into it. Like, I never thought I was gonna be able to do that, like in real time with him right there. Like, at least not this early in the relationship. And it just happened. And I feel, I'm so grateful, one, that I was able to like express with clarity, I'm feeling this trigger, and it was actually that particular situation was a trigger from a really deep trauma, and it came up, and because I fully validate what I'm feeling in the moment, I've been able to attract a man who fully validates me and who's not scared of me, of seeing every part of me. So this is something that I always tell, my clients and every woman in my world, like, learn to validate yourself, your feelings, your emotions. If you're able to do that, you're going to attract people who also will validate you, right? But like, invalidating yourself then you wonder why the people around you don't validate your emotions. Like, how deep are you going with your own self, right? So.
For the guys out there, I don't think there's anything that will dry up a pussy more than invalidating emotions. If you're with a woman and you are putting her in a position to be wrong for having emotions, you are the one who's wrong. Because at the end of the day, all of our own internal perspectives and how we feel emotions and how we go through life is something that is real to each of us. So when you say to somebody that them feeling something is wrong, basically by invalidating them, you're telling them that their whole worldview is wrong. You're telling them that what they're feeling is wrong. And I don't think anyone in their right mind would want that for themselves. And so I love the point that you just brought up, Elisa, where it's like, take a look at how you validate or invalidate yourself, because that's often a good reflection of like how you're also going to treat other people too, or how you're going to be treated. So all of this stuff that we're talking about, it always starts with self. And it always starts with you recognizing that you're the mirror to the world that you need to be. So that validation piece is so key, because we can gaslight ourselves. Forget about like being gaslighted or gaslighting other people. Like, some of the hardest stuff that I have dealt with and continue to deal with is just my own gaslighting of like, I'm feeling a certain type of way. I shouldn't feel this way. It's like, wait, if I'm feeling this emotion in this moment, there is a reason. There's some reason. I don't need to necessarily know that reason, but me immediately saying it's not right invalidates the core being of just who I am. And then that's how you move through life, is you look at other people and you see them act a certain way and you're like, you can't feel that way because it's not real. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell someone that they can't feel something? I may not agree with Elisa when she feels certain way. Like, I might not agree with why she feels that way, or her assumed intention of me if we got into some sort of argument or some sort of trigger. It's like, but my first job in the conversation is to validate it. Babe, I totally see how you could understand it that way. Babe, that's totally valid. Here's how I'm seeing it. And then being able to provide a perspective that she may not know. And now all of a sudden we can create a pool of shared meaning, where some of her meaning to the situation has arrived, some of my meaning to the situation has arrived. We create a shared reality of what's actually happened, and by creating that, there's safety. And now all of a sudden, she can decide she was wrong. Like, she felt everything, that was real, that was right, but how she acted because of that was wrong. And that's super empowering. I can also do the same and say, you know what, I see your point, and I'm gonna do better in this, this, and this. And I may even think that she's wrong in the way that she acted, but I'm still going to do whatever I can in my power that doesn't cross one of my boundaries to assist her in feeling better. We both need to win. That's the way I look at every situation. It's not like if the relationship turns into a competition where I have to win and she has to lose in arguments, you're done.
Yeah.
Arguments should merely be a place to explore understanding of each other and understanding of self in an attempt to move the relationship forward in growth.
You have to be more committed to grow and to work through the trigger and to grow together than you're committed to being right. Like, when we stay like so focused on I want to be right, I'm the one being right, like remembering this with this validation piece that Jordan just shared with us is like remembering that what the person is experiencing is real for them, is their reality, right? It's like, okay, you may not agree with that. That's totally okay. You cannot agree all the time with like you can love them very much, but like you will not be able to agree all the time, and that's okay. And you don't have like let go of your need to change the other person's mind, and like that I think that's when the invalidation comes in, because we just want them to feel and see the way things as we see them, right? And you can for sure offer your perspective and they can totally see the situation the way you see it, but at the same time they also have their own reality, right? So keeping that in mind is like I think it's very important. So the two main pieces here that I'm really that I want to like bring up and reinforce is one, take responsibility and ownership of what you're feeling, and two, validate the other person's point of view and opinion. Like this will be a lifesaver in navigating triggers.
And literally saying it, just like, that's, babe, that's super valid. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that with me. I didn't see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally just using the words, like, that's valid.
Yeah.
It does wonders, right? Like telling them that's real, basically, what you're feeling, and I can get a sense of what you're saying, and you can even repeat it too. It's like, from what I hear, this is what you're experiencing.
And this helps so much in opening the heart, and the solution or the understanding will come so much easier with an open heart. I mean, it won't happen any other way. Like, it has to happen from an open heart. And the moment you are validating each other's experiences and feelings, the moment you are also expressing that validation, is like, oh, okay, I don't have to have my walls up here. This is not about power. This is not about being right. This is like, we're a team. We're together navigating this, right? So it's like, okay, I can let my guard down, and we're gonna work through this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
What examples do you feel comfortable sharing?
I'm an open book. Like, the things I share in the like, I think the question here is for you.
Yeah. Well, a couple come to mind. One is the dress situation.
Yeah.
And the other one would be the book launch day.
Yeah.
The book launch day is a little bit more like intense. Or it's more, I'd love to hear how you experienced that.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. I actually, like, I mean, we could make an entire whole life on just that week of the book launch. And I actually, for sure, I want to go way deeper on that, but we can say so.
Maybe the dress.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because in the book launch, like it's so many components about like navigating success in a partnership. It's like, experiencing the dysregulation that comes when we get what we want, but that's it's a rabbit hole just going into that, right? And so navigating that in a partnership. I wanna hear the intense one.
Yeah, Matt, are you gonna
I mean,
start
we can approach it from the place of the trigger, and then we'll talk about like deeper on the other components.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, you wanna start?
here?
The intense one for you, Matt.
This one would be the book launch day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, which I imagine is probably a lot of people in her audience, I had launched a book two weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yay.
it was something that I had been working on for the course of years. So if you can imagine what it feels like to be 2 years plus into a project, finally coming to an end, you're releasing a book into the world. Like what I experienced was basically an overstimulation of from messages, from people reaching out, from emotions to just an overwhelming amount of nervous system dysregulation. And really where a lot of our safety and a lot of our ability to cope with things lives is our nervous system. So if your nervous system's out of whack and you feel like really stressed or you've got a lot of different things going on, it can affect how you show up in your relationship, how you show up in life. And my pattern is, if that kind of thing happens, an overstimulation of my nervous system, or I feel like overwhelmed in general, I feel really stressed out like I was that week, I'll go into a more avoidant pattern where I don't really want to connect. I don't really have the energy or desire to connect with anything other than what that project is. Like my tunnel vision was completely on that project. So we went through kind of the process of, well, this is like a really big celebration of me launching my book. So she comes and brings over a cake for me, and we have this whole big dance party on the roof. And there was all sorts of great experiences that we were having, but then immediately when kind of things slowed down and we were sitting down together, I was just not able to be present. Like I really didn't want to talk. I really wasn't into kind of the touching or I didn't want to have sex. I didn't want to do anything. I was like,
Dysregulation.
I was like, my mind was somewhere else completely. It was on the Amazon book metrics. It was on all types of things. And while I was there in physical form, like I was just like kind of checked out. And she could feel that energy. I think she can feel when
How could I not?
Yeah. How can she not, right? So she at some point had kind of brought it up to me that she can feel that I'm not really paying attention. And it really caused her to close up. So I think the pattern that we discovered was, if I get overstimulated and something is really stressful in my life and I have that dysregulation in my nervous system, I'm going to go into avoidance. I'm not going to want to talk. I'm not going to want to like be around. I'm going to want to do my own thing. And then her response to that is to shut down emotionally as well and close her heart. So then you have two people who are completely closed, who don't really want to communicate with each other. And yeah, it just felt like really, really spicy. Like, like I don't remember exactly what you said to me, but
yeah, I wanted to mention that without going too deep into like attachment styles, but like his tendency when he's dysregulated is to be avoidant, and then my tendency is anxious. So this is such a common combination in partnerships, and it's really like when we're not aware of this, and if you don't have the tools and the awareness, like it can be a disaster, right? Like it's because in my anxiety, in my anxious attachment, I want him to be present. I mean, I always want that, right? But in my anxious attachment, I want quick answers. When you have tendency for that attachment style, you want quick answers. You cannot wait. You need reassurance right away. And avoidance style is like removing himself from there. So that can be really, really dramatic and disastrous. So it's like and one of my main the things that I value the most is presence. Like I quality time, presence, and we are
the least for me. it's probably quality time on the 5 love languages. It's like towards the bottom. Like we're flipped on that one.
Yeah, we're flipped. So it's like I'm like, no, this is a non-negotiable for me. Like I want you here, I want you present. But in the moment when I was feeling triggered and hurt, I could not see the level of dysregulation where he was in, and I was taking it probably almost personal, right? Like, oh, why are you not so present with me? Why are you not here? You don't want to spend time with me. And I got into my head. I started taking it personally, and I brought it up. In my anxious attachment, I wanted him to come back right here, right now, and he's like, no. Like the more anxious, the more demanding the person comes, the avoidance style will want to run away and to avoid. So it's very important to remember, like to know about this. We can do another live around more like attachment styles and how to navigate that. But yeah, like in that particular situation, I brought it up and he was like, oh, okay, like I'm realizing what's happening here. And I was really like, I mean, I'm glad I have the tools I have now, because in my hurt, in another time, I would have thought he doesn't love me enough. He doesn't care about me. He's just like in his freaking book. All his attention is on his freaking book, and I'm not important for him. He's going to abandon me. Like, I would have made so much drama and stories around this, but thankfully I have enough tools and enough, coming back to myself, and I was like, okay, now, once he was able to express how he was feeling and how his attention was so focused on the lounge, I could see that it wasn't about me. I stopped making it about me, and I could totally see, I mean, still honoring my need, for sure. Like, I need your presence no matter what. Like, regardless, I told him, even if you're winning the Nobel Prize, I still need you present, like, so it was a beautiful situation to navigate that, like, such a strong trigger, to learn about our attachment styles, and to learn how we can better navigate a big event in our careers in future situations, because we are going to have many more moments of success like that, right? And really huge. So I'm glad this happened. Now we have more tools and more awareness for next time that it happens.
Absolutely. It's well said. I think what I learned out of it as well was that aligning expectations up front of that kind of a big day, right? Like having a really big launch day like that. My focus and concern is all on that, and in my head, I'm like, that's all I have committed for today. Her expectation was, oh, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna celebrate and we're gonna hang out, we're gonna go to this cool dinner, we're gonna have all these things, and it's like she hadn't expressed that to me, and I hadn't expressed to her. So when we got towards the end of the day and she brought the cake over and we're hanging out, all she really wanted was for me to sit down and just have like a deep conversation with her and just show her that I am good present. But I'm like, I gotta be in my computer. Like, I gotta go check the stuff. Like, I don't want to talk right now.
We totally had two different ideas.
So that causes, like a big trigger on her side. It causes a big trigger on my side, because I was like, how do you not understand? This is my launch day. Why are you trying to make this about you? And then that week, I think, was just a really big test for this conscious communication and kind of how we relate to each other. So I think that was also a beautiful part of it, like what was said. Matt has a question here. With flip-flop love languages, how do you work to accommodate each other? Is it a struggle at times? Want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think awareness is obviously the first step. So being aware of not only how you receive, but how you prefer to give love. is really important because I've noticed that mine are words of affirmation, and I've kind of flip-flopped on the other one. I really like acts of service. I think acts of service and words of affirmation are actually my top two. Hers are quality time and touch, I imagine. I remember one and two. And that's fine. Like, I think that it's great to have the awareness, but I like to give the same way I like to receive. And oftentimes that's the same with a lot of people. It's like, okay, well, I have these. So I think number one, it's just, okay, we have awareness that we have very different styles. Has it been difficult? Yes, because I can even think of an occasion last week where we had a Friendsgiving dinner. So we all get together and we're hanging out with a group of people. I'm also an extrovert and she's an introvert. So there's like plenty of reasons why our personality styles lead to miscommunications and triggers and all sorts of things. And we're at this Friendsgiving, and all I'm thinking about is, oh, how awesome it is to have her next to me, how awesome it is to be at this party, to like talk to all my friends, to like be very fulfilled by these interactions, very energized. And by the time we left, I was like, wow, I like got in all my needs at this Friendsgiving as an extrovert who, you know, really doesn't necessarily value intimate one-on-one quality time as my number one thing. It's like just having her next to me and like looking at her and showing her off to my friends, like that kind of shit is like actually really connecting for me. So I kind of realized, wow, like that was awesome, cool, we get home, and then I'm ready to like shut down and go to bed, all this stuff, and she's like, we're not even gonna talk about how our day was. And I was just like, what the fuck? Did we just spent the past like 5-6 hours talking to people? You're not tired?
And I'm like, I'm not complete
You're
here.
not tired? It's like 11 p.m. And we also like to try to get to bed early, so we have to like try to plan around these different styles. And so I guess that to answer how do you accommodate, it's like I look at it as a constant experiment, because I think because I'm in my own world and I'm feeling like I'm getting everything I need, I just don't want to assume that she also is. And so I've learned over time that the accommodation is actually just checking in and like making sure that she is like being present to those little moments where it's like, okay, I could make the decision to take the extra step to like connect with her right now. Should I do that? And if I ask myself if I should, it's like an absolute yes, like I should, because that's going to help her feel secure in the relationship. That's going to help accommodate her. Now, when you don't necessarily accommodate that fully is when it crosses one of your own boundaries. Is the way that I feel about it. It's like if I have a certain boundary that's going to be crossed by trying to accommodate something, then I'm going to bring up this framework again where it's like, babe, I can feel how we may not have gotten enough quality time together. Here's where I'm at right now. This is what I'm experiencing, and I don't feel like I can quite give you X, Y, and Z at the moment. But here is my contingency. Let's make some time to like go out and have a great dinner on Monday, like we did this week. Is like let's go out and have some fun. I'll plan just us. I'll plan the dinner. I'll do this. So it's constantly being aware of when you don't accommodate. It's like, when are you going to accommodate, and making that very clear and understood, and recognize that, hey, I recognize that all of your needs right now might not be met, like in this moment, but here's how I'm gonna get them met.
Yeah.
And like having like some structure around that, especially as the masculine figure, is like I'm leading that and I'm checking in on that. She has no problem meeting all my needs. I think it's more of like me making sure I'm like, especially on the emotional side, like doing more connecting.
Yeah. And something that I want to say about that is like it's realizing and normalizing that our needs might be met in different ways. Like we realized that after that dinner, he was ready to go to bed, and I'm like, no, I need time, like us, even if it's 10-15 minutes of us talking to each other, face to face, looking at each other in the eyes and touching and hugging. Like, I need that, right? So we learn that now, and that's totally okay. It's not that he hates that. He doesn't need it to the same level as I do, right? But now that we have that awareness, it's like, okay, now he knows that I really value one-on-one time and that intimate and deep conversations. So on Monday he took me for a really fancy dinner, you know, and like we go and we dress up and like, so like that is to me like I'm a happy woman. So ladies, get yourself a man who is willing to meet all your needs, even when both of your needs like might be a little bit different, might look a little bit different, and that's okay. That's okay, right? So yeah, like as Jordan mentioned, I'm an introvert, he's an extrovert, and he loves being in big groups of people, which sometimes can be really draining for me. So I prefer to choose that kind of experiences, like be more selective around that. But I know he values that, and he loves it, and he loves when I come with him. So if it's not crossing a boundary for me, I'm happy to do that, right, to meet his need. But for example, if there is a time of the month when I'm on my moon and I just want time for myself, I just need space, I'm not in the mood to be talking to other people because I'm extra sensitive, then that's a boundary for me. And even though I love you, even though you need to be, you love to take me out with your friends and all of that, I'm not gonna do that. This is not a time when I can meet that need of yours, because my need comes first. So something that I really love and that we really practice is being attuned to the other person's needs, you know, as long as it doesn't cross your boundary. Like, that's so important. So it all comes down again to being connected to your own needs and attuned to the other person's needs, and there is always boundaries honored.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
There's no guilt to, like, if she doesn't want to come to one of those events, it's like, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to take that personally. And I think any of the times that I've established a boundary, I think she does a good job of not taking it personally. Like, the week that we had some of those miscommunications, and we had times when we didn't really understand where the other person was coming from, or we had just kind of like some triggers that really came up. Like, we took some time intentionally away from each other too, and that actually felt really good. And her bringing that up to me was like, yeah, of course, like, take the time that you need. And I actually think it's a great idea, because I think I need some time too. So those boundaries can actually be an invitation for your partner to set their own boundaries, or realize that they have a similar boundary. And it's like, oh, if you have the same boundaries, that's fucking awesome. Because then there's really just a lot of understanding that comes with that. So
Yeah. Love it. Okay. I hope that helped Matthew. And for those of you who are catching up the replay, feel free to drop questions around the topic below, and we would.
Which language do we fight in? ¿Quieres hablar en español?
Sí, podemos hablar en español, but arguments are always in English because we can go deeper there, you know. Do you think you could defend yourself in Spanish?
No. I remember I got a good argument with, this was like in 2019, when I had still not really learned. I mean, my Spanish is okay. It's decent.
It's okay.
But I remember still not knowing Spanish really at all, and having a girl that I was dating and just not understanding. It made it so weird. Like, there was no way that she could stay mad, because I just couldn't understand her, she couldn't understand me. It was just like, alright.
Spanish has better insults.
Yeah, Spanish I think is definitely spicier.
So here, there is a disadvantage for me. Like, I could definitely fight better in Spanish, and we do it in English. So, well done, anyways.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, but we argue in English. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun, anyways. Okay. Do you feel complete for now?
So you want to look at the other guide we had just in case?
Oh yeah, we missed.
We had
anything
something that we
there?
wrote, like a couple bullet points. We haven't even looked at this document.
No, which is like.
Which is good.
I'm way okay. Yeah. Okay. This is another reason way we're different, and that we're exploring too, is Type A, masculine energy, overly structured me versus like I flow with the wind and the ocean.
Babe, that's feminine energy.
Yeah, she has beautiful feminine energy, and it's so feminine that I was like going into this conversation. I'm like, well, so we have an outline. Like, what are we going to talk about? Did you create an event? I'm like trying to like push her to do all these things. So it's interesting that that's another aspect of communication that I think we're really exploring right now. Is, well, one, how can you utilize some of that energy that I have for your business? How can I utilize some of your energy for my business? Because we're both very far on the ends of the spectrum, while still keeping the polarity in the relationship. So it's like, I want to borrow some of her feminine energy for this aspect of my life, but I don't want to depolarize the relationship. I still want to stay in my masculine as much as possible in the actual relationship, leading, providing, firm boundaries on like what the relationship is, what it is to myself, what it is to you, and being in that, I think is great. Maybe we could just do like a quick recap. I think one of the main things that we talked about was normalizing triggers instead of vilifying them, validating your partner even if you disagree, knowing that their version of reality is real,
Taking responsibility for your own.
taking responsibility for your own emotions. They are yours and yours alone. Using relationships as a healing modality and a mirror to yourself can be something that allows you to discover parts of you that you didn't even know. And then also, it's okay if you don't know what a trigger is, like why it's there. You don't need to know that in the moment. You just need to, at least from my perspective, explore what's the best coping mechanism and response for you to take. For me, oftentimes that's like, I need to chill out for a second. I don't want to talk about it right in that moment, but I do want to talk about it before I go to bed that night, for instance. Like I don't ever want to go to bed and feel like I haven't resolved some part of a conflict in my relationship. And then using that trigger statement, this has nothing to do with you, but I'm feeling really triggered right now. A few things we didn't go over: the nonviolent communication method, which we should go over next time.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
the weekly
I
relationship.
think there could be a part 2 to this.
Yeah, it'd be like a part. It's like a weekly thing. Weekly relationship meetings, and there was maybe a longer share with the book stuff, but I think we covered quite a bit of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, that feels good for now then. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. We love you. We're gonna chill for a little bit before we continue with our day and our calls.
I'm dragging her out to another big event. My
Yeah.
specialty.
Alright. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
How do you turn
Were
the
you
keys?
able to close it?
No. Oh, here we go. Is it in Chrome?
No, it's right
Firefox?
here.
Ah, there we go. Oh yeah.